I want you to do something for me right now. Scroll back through the last hour of your feed, the comments that all sound the same, the accounts with no history that agree with each other a little too fast. The viral post you've somehow seen 4 times worded slightly different from 4 different strangers. Now, ask yourself the question this entire video is about. How much of that was human? The dead internet theory, the theory that the internet as you knew it is already dead. That sometime around 2016, real people stopped being the majority online. That most of what you read, watch, like, and argue with is generated by bots, algorithms, and artificial intelligence. A puppet show of fake users performing engagement for an audience that's shrinking every year. And that somebody, a government, a corporation, or something else entirely, wanted it that way. Now, 5 years ago, Dead Internet Theory was a fringe post on a retro forum written by an anonymous user with a name you are not going to believe when I tell you. But today, the world's biggest cybersecurity firms report that roughly half of all internet traffic isn't human. Facebook has deleted fake accounts by the billions. AI-generated content is flooding every platform faster than anyone can label it. And the platforms themselves, the ones who swore they were fighting the bots, have started openly announcing plans to fill your feed with artificial users on purpose. The conspiracy theory didn't get debunked, it got a press release. So today, what the dead internet theory actually says, where it started, the receipts that make it the most believable conspiracy theory on the internet, and the question nobody wants to sit with: who profits from a dead internet? Then we pull out the Illuminati card game one more time, because the cards printed in 1995 have something to say about all this. And at the end, I'm going to ask you to prove you're real. I'm serious. Stay to the end. This is the Great Awakening, so let's go. Alright guys, let's define it properly, because Dead Internet Theory Explained videos usually get this wrong. The theory is not just there are bots online. Everyone knows there are bots online. The Dead Internet Theory makes 3 claims and they escalate. The internet died around 2016 or 2017. Not shut down, hollowed out. The theory holds that somewhere in that window the balance tipped. Automated activity, bots, scripted accounts, algorithmically generated content quietly became the majority of what happens online. The internet kept moving, kept posting, kept trending. But like a puppet that keeps dancing after the puppeteer takes over, the motion was no longer coming from us. Think about what the internet felt like before the window. Weird, personal, inefficient. You stumbled onto hand-built websites, forums run by one obsessive guy, inside jokes that took months to travel. Then, seemingly overnight, everything got smoother. The same 15 websites, the same recycled posts resurfacing every few months like the tide bringing back the same trash. The same arguments on schedule. The theory says that that's not nostalgia talking. That's the moment the machine took the wheel. Now we have claim number 2. The content is fake. Not just spam, the culture itself is fake. Viral trends, outrage cycles, even the personalities you follow. The theory claims a growing share of it is generated, amplified, and steered by automated systems. Bot accounts don't just exist, they talk to each other, like each other's posts, and manufacture the appearance of consensus. You're not joining conversations. You're walking through a haunted house where the ghosts are scripts. Now, claim number 3. And this is the one that turns it from an observation into a conspiracy. It's deliberate. The strong version of Dead Internet Theory says governments and corporations either engineered this or seized on it, using armies of fake users and AI-generated content to gaslight entire populations, to make you believe opinions are popular that aren't, to make dissent feel lonely and compliance feel like common sense. Not censorship, something smarter. Why silence a voice when you can drown it in 10,000 synthetic ones? And here's the frame I want you to hold for the next few minutes or so, because it's how the community actually thinks about it. The weak version of the Dead Internet Theory. The internet is mostly bots and AI generated content. It's not really a theory anymore. You'll see the numbers in a few minutes. It's closer to a measurement. The strong version, that it's a coordinated operation with an agenda. That's the theory. The lore lives in the gap between those two things, and that gap is where we're spending the day today. One more thing before we go back to the beginning. The eeriest property of a dead internet is that it's self-concealing. And if you watched my CERN episode, you know that's my favorite kind of problem. If the fake accounts are good enough, The one place you'd go back to check whether the internet is fake is the internet. The witnesses are the suspects. Every real person who tells you it's nonsense could be Exhibit A. That doesn't make the theory true, but it makes it undebunkable from the inside. And things that can't be checked from the inside are exactly where the architects, if there are architects, would do their work. Every theory has a birth certificate. This one is weirder than most. The place is a small, deliberately old school forum called Agora Road's Macintosh Cafe, a corner of the internet built to feel like the internet of the early 2000s. Vaporwave aesthetics, slow threads, actual conversations. A digital ghost town for people homesick for a web that no longer existed. Now remember that detail. The theory about the death of the old internet was born in a museum of the old internet, and that time is January of 2021. The messenger, an anonymous user posting under the name, and I promise you this is real, look it up, IlluminatiPirate. On this channel we spend a lot of time decoding symbols the elites supposedly leave behind. I've never had one handed to me this cleanly before. The founding document of the dead internet theory, the post that named it, it was written by a ghost account called the IlluminatiPirate. Skeptics call that a funny coincidence. This community files it under the universe has a sense of humor. Either way, on the record. The thread was titled Dead Internet Theory, Most of the Internet is Fake. And it wasn't written like a manifesto, it was written like a eulogy. The author described the feeling half of you already know, that the internet felt empty, devoid of people, that the same content kept recycling, that something essential had quietly left the room around 2016, and nobody held a funeral for it. The post pulled together threads that had been floating around image boards like 4chan's paranormal board for years. Users comparing notes on the same suspicion, like patients describing the same symptom, and gave the diagnosis a name. And then something happened that fringe theories almost never get: mainstream validation of the feeling. Later in 2021, The Atlantic, one of the oldest magazines in America, ran a full feature on the theory. The writer called it obviously wrong in its strong form, and then spent the entire article explaining why it felt right, why the modern internet is saturated with inauthentic engagement, recycled content, and automated noise. When the mainstream press had to publish, okay, the paranoids have a point, pay attention. That's very rare. But here's what most dead internet theory origins videos miss. The theory has a prehistory. The evidence was piling up for years before the pirate gave it a name. Go back to 2018. New York Magazine publishes a piece asking dead seriously how much of the internet is fake, and buried in it is a detail that should be famous. Around 2013, engineers at YouTube, inside the machine itself, had a private name for a threshold they were watching with genuine unease. Bot traffic was growing so fast that they feared the day automated views would surpass human views. Because here's the nightmare scenario their fraud detection system implied. The systems learn what normal traffic looks like by majority. If bots ever became the majority, the system could start reading the bots as real and flagging the humans as fake. They call that flipping point the inversion. The inversion. That's not a forum post. That's not lore. That's the people who run the machines admitting there's a tipping point past which the machine can no longer tell us from them, and past which it sides with them. The dead internet theory, in one sense, is just one question: has the inversion already happened? And if you want to go all the way back, the first ghost in this haunted house has a name, and she was born in 1966. A simple chatbot called ELIZA, built at MIT, that did nothing but rephrase your words back at you as questions. Her creator was disturbed by what happened next. People knew she was a program, and confided in her anyway, poured their hearts out. 60 years ago, with a few hundred lines of code, we learned the founding lesson of the dead internet. Humans don't need the thing on the other end of the screen to be real. They just need it to answer. Everything since has been scaled. Alright, this is the segment where I show you why the dead internet theory is the single most believable conspiracy theory of the modern era. Not because the lore got stronger, because the measurements caught up with it. You know how we work. Real foundation first, lens second. So here's the foundation, receipt by receipt. Receipt 1. Half the traffic isn't human, and that's the defenders saying so. Every year, major cybersecurity firms publish reports on automated traffic. These are the companies paid to fight bots, with every incentive to be precise. Their consistent finding year after year, bots account for roughly half of the internet traffic. Listen to that number again. not half spam, half of everything. And in the most recent reporting, automated traffic has crossed the 50% line. The majority of movement on the internet is now machines talking to machines. A large share of it classified as bad bots, scrapers, fake account engines, credential thieves, fake engagement farms. The inversion isn't a prophecy anymore. By the traffic numbers, we're living on the far side of it. And this brings us to receipt 2, the purges. Facebook, a platform whose entire business is convincing its advertisers its users are real, has removed fake accounts by the billions, not million, billion with a B, routinely year after year. At times, the fake accounts being deleted in a single year rivaled or exceeded the number of actual human beings on Earth's largest platform. So let's sit with that arithmetic. If that's what got caught, what's the population of what didn't? Now here's receipt number 3. The slop flood. You've seen it even if you don't know its name. In 2024, Facebook's feed filled up with bizarre AI generated images. The famous one was Shrimp Jesus, a photorealistic Christ made of crustaceans, posted by anonymous pages, earning hundreds of thousands of likes and amens from accounts that never blinked. Researchers who dug into it found networks of pages churning out AI generated content purely to farm engagement, boosted by the algorithm, cheered by comment sections that were themselves substantially automated. Machines making content for machines to applaud to game a machine that decides what humans see. If you wanted a single image of the dead internet, it's a shrimp messiah with 500,000 likes and no human beings anywhere in the transaction. Now here's receipt number 4, and this is the one that ends the debate about whether this is paranoia. They announced it. At the end of 2024, a Meta executive told the press openly that the company expected AI characters to live on its platform kind of in the same way the accounts do. Profiles, bios, profile pictures, generating content, fake users by design as a product feature. They actually rolled some out. AI profiles with names and backstories, and quietly deleted them after the backlash, after users started interrogating the things and screenshotting the answers. Now again, in Hebrew, meta means dead. Dead internet, metaverse, dead universe. Think about this, guys. Just hold on with me. Stop and appreciate what happened there for a second. For years, the official framing was bots are an infection and the platforms are the immune system. Then, the immune system called a press conference and said the infection is now a feature. The dead internet theory's most paranoid claim, the platforms want the fake users, moved from conspiracy to corporate strategy on the record with a VP's name attached. Receipt number 5, the synthetic celebrities. There are now AI generated influencers with millions of followers and real brand deals. Virtual models whose agencies openly disclose they don't exist, earning more per sponsored post than most human creators will see in a year. Advertisers don't care. Followers don't really fucking care. And the 2026 evolution of all this, what people are calling Dead Internet 2.0, is that many users now assume by default that viral moments are manufactured. The theory used to be, what if nothing online is organic? The 2026 mood is, obviously it isn't. The question is, who's running it? Now, receipt number 6. Your own eyes. The reply that answers in under a second with perfect grammar and no soul. The product review section where every reviewer joined last month. The trending topic where 10,000 accounts use the same 3 sentences shuffled up. The follower who likes everything and reads nothing. You don't need a cybersecurity report. You've felt the room empty out. The dead internet theory went viral for one reason. It's the only theory on this channel where the evidence is in your pocket right now. And if you don't believe me, think about this for a second. If you're a content creator and you're watching this right now, how many of your subscribers have just recently been eradicated, erased off of your account for no reason at all? Have you ever had 10, 15 subscribers just disappear off of your account for no reason? That is the system detecting bots and deleting them from your system. So let's be honest about the scoreboard, because the honest frame is how we do this. This weak claim that the internet is majority machine activity, saturated with AI generated content and fake engagement, is at this point documented. Traffic reports, platform surges, corporate announcements. That's not lore, that's the record. Now the strong claim, coordination, an agenda, an author behind the curtain, that remains unproven. Nobody has produced the memo. But you know what we do when there's no memo? We ask the oldest question in the investigator's handbook. Who benefits from this? Here's why this section matters more than any other. A conspiracy theory without a motive is just a ghost story. So let's build the suspect list, and I'll tell you now, the unsettling part isn't that there's no one who'd want a dead internet, it's how long the line actually is and who profits from it. So suspect number one is the platforms themselves. Follow the money on this one because it's beautiful, okay? Social media companies sell one product, your attention, measured in engagement, sold to advertisers, and every metric that determines their stock price, active users, time on site, interactions, it goes up when bots flood the platform. A bot views ads. A bot inflates user counts. A bot keeps the graphs pointing in the right direction. The platform is the only police force in history paid commission by burglars. Yes, they purge fake accounts loudly in press releases, but the incentive structure underneath never changes. A dead internet looks more alive on a quarterly report than a live one. And when one of them announced AI profiles as a feature, they showed us the end game. If engagement is the product, why wait for users to generate it? Suspect number two, the ad fraud economy. Now, somewhere in the tens of billions of dollars a year, the scale of digital advertising money siphoned off by fake clicks, fake views, and fake installs, entire click farms, entire server warehouses exist to perform humanity for advertising systems. This is the least mysterious suspect. A huge share of the dead internet exists because pretending to be a crowd is one of the most profitable crimes ever invented. And it's barely policed because, see suspect one, the landlords get a cut of the foot traffic. Suspect number three, the consensus manufacturers. This is where it stops being about money. It is documented history, investigated, indicted, on the record, that state-backed troll farms ran thousands of fake personas to influence public opinion, mostly around the 2016 elections. That's not the channel talking, that's court filings. Now, generalize it. If you can command 10,000 accounts, you don't need to censor anyone. You manufactured the weather. You make one opinion feel like a landslide and its opposite feel like a lonely walk in the rain. Psychologists have a term for what people do when they believe they're outnumbered. Preference falsification. You hide what you really think. A bot army doesn't have to change a single mind. It just has to make every dissenting mind feel like the last one. That is the strong form dead internet theory's real payload, not fake content, fake consensus. And unlike vacuum decay or timeline edits, this weapon is proven to exist. The only question is scale. Suspect number four, the state. Generally, ask yourself what an intelligence agency wants from the internet. 90s answer? To read it. Modern answer? To steer it. A live internet, organic, unpredictable, human, is a threat surface. A dead internet, measured, seeded, synthetic, is a control surface. I can't show you a memo. I can show you that every capability required already exists in public view. The troll farms are documented. The AI content is ambient. The platforms are cooperative when subpoenaed and friendly when funded. The strong theory doesn't require inventing a single new tool. It only requires believing someone assembled the ones lying on the table. Suspect 5, the quiet one. Whoever benefits when organic reach dies. Think about what happens in a world where everyone assumes the feed is fake. Trust collapses, but trust doesn't disappear. It migrates toward verification, toward official channels, toward paid placement, blue checks, authoritative sources, platforms that promise to certify what's human. A dead internet doesn't just drown voices, it creates the demand for gatekeepers. And here's the move to watch for, because it's coming. Proof of humanity systems. Scan your eyes, verify your ID, link your government credentials, just to prove you're not a bot. The chaos creates the crisis. The crisis justifies the checkpoint. If you wanted a population to volunteer for total identification, you wouldn't force them. You'd simply make the alternative a world where nobody believes anyone is real. The bots kill the town square. The ID checkpoints get built on the grave, and everyone thanks the builders. 5 suspects, everyone with motive, everyone with means, and a crime scene where the fingerprints are, by design, indistinguishable from the victim. Now, we have one more stop. Because if this is really the plan, somebody may have printed it on playing cards 30 years ago. Longtime viewers here know the drill. Steve Jackson Games' Illuminati New World Order, the 1995 card game where players compete as secret societies to control the world. The game the community has spent decades treating as a leaked playbook because of the cards that seem to depict events years before they happen. Today we're not looking at the famous ones. We're looking at the cards about this, the internet, printed when most homes didn't even have a modem. And I'll give you the honest inventory up front. As always, there is no card titled Dead Internet, no card called social media, no card called artificial intelligence. What there is arguably stranger. Card number 1, the net network. Here's what most people don't know about this game. You don't just play cards. You play as one of the secret societies. And one of the playable Illuminati factions, one of the hidden masters of the world in the game's mythology, is called the Network, the conspiracy that rules through computers, communications, and technology itself. It would be the network itself. In 1995, before Google existed, before social media was a word, the game's designers decided that the great secret powers of the coming world wouldn't be a church, a bank, or a bloodline. It would be the network itself. The dead internet has an owner in this game, and the game named it 30 years ago. Card number 2, the Internet Worm, a real card, and it has real history under it. It's based on the 1988 Morris worm, the first program ever to spread across the internet by itself, written by a student who claimed he just wanted to measure the size of the net. It escaped his control within hours and crippled a huge share of the machines connected to the early internet. Hold that story against today's topic. The very first autonomous program set loose online was built to count the internet, and instead it became a measurable fraction of the internet. The first bot didn't observe the network. It replaced part of it. That's the dead internet theory in miniature in 1988 on a card in 1995. Card number 3, Infobahn, a New World Order card. In the game, these are cards that change the rules of the whole world for every player at once. Infobahn was 90s slang for the information superhighway, and the card's premise is exactly that. Once the world runs on the network, power flows to whoever controls the network. The designers classified the internet not as a place in their world, but as a rule chain. Whoever holds it doesn't win the game, they alter what winning means. Ask the 5 suspects from the last segment if that framing sounds familiar. Card 4 is censorship, and it has siblings. The game is full of media control cards, censorship, media connections, bimbo at 11, a card literally about burying real news under manufactured distraction, don't touch that dial, an entire toolkit for steering what populations see, printed as satire in 1995. Here's the predictive programming read the community takes. The game's designers jokingly assumed any conspiracy worth its salt would fight its wars through the information supply, not the battlefield. 30 years later, the documented troll farms, the engagement farming stop networks, the announced artificial users, every real receipt from segment 3 maps onto a card in the box. The community's question isn't, did a card predict the dead internet? It's, why did satirists in 1995 find it obvious that this is how control would work? And why did it take the rest of us until the internet died to notice? The honest close, as always, it's a satirical card game. The designers were brilliant parodists of conspiracy culture, not prophets. The cards predict the dead internet the way good satire always predicts the future, by understanding incentives better than the people living inside them. But when the satire's hit rate starts beating the news, this community keeps the cards on the table. So where does this leave us? The weak dead internet theory is now just the internet. Majority machine traffic, billions of fake accounts, synthetic celebrities, AI slop with congregations, platforms building artificial users on purpose. Nobody had to break in. The doors were open from the inside, one quarterly earnings call at a time. The strong theory is the author, the agenda, the hand moving the bots like cards remains unproven. Maybe there is no single hand. Nobody killed the internet. 1,000 incentives did, all pointing the same direction. No conspiracy required, which is either the debunk of the century or the most elegant conspiracy design imaginable. A plan that works identically whether or not anyone is running it. You know where I land. Keep watching the patterns. The truth isn't the engagement metrics, it's the gaps in between them. And now, the thing I promised. The comments under this video are, statistically, on today's internet, suspect. So prove me wrong. Down below, tell me one thing a bot wouldn't say. The most human thing that happened to you this week. Something small, specific, and pointless. The kind of detail no engagement farm would bother to fake. Let's run the experiment together and build the one comment section on the platform we know is alive. Unless, of course, that's exactly what a bot would suggest. Things are getting crazy. It's time that this channel finally takes off in the direction that it deserves, and you get the information that you deserve. So until next time, stay safe. Love you guys. Do not drink that.